Welcome back to AI Unraveled, your strategic daily briefing on the business impact of artificial intelligence. It is Friday, December 5th, 2025, and the race for liquidity is on. We are closing the week with massive news. Anthropic and OpenAI are now locked in a sprint to the public markets, eyeing record-breaking IPOs. We've also got a rare look inside Claude's brain with a leaked soul document that redefines AI personality, and OpenAI is making a $4.6 billion sovereign AI bet in Australia. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. Please like and subscribe on your favorite platform to support the podcast. Now let's unravel the news.
Welcome back to the deep dive. The pace of AI development right now is it's staggering. And it's being defined less by software updates and more by these colossal financial gambles and, well, philosophical divides.
Exactly. And today we're focusing on that heavyweight fight. It's the two biggest names outside of big tech, Anthropic and OpenAI.
Right.
And this is a deep dive into really high-stakes corporate warfare. We're not just comparing models today. We're analyzing two fundamentally different visions for the future of computing.
Yeah.
We've got a huge stack of sources, and we're going to distill the most important strategic nuggets for you. So our mission here is to understand three core tensions. First, the money race. I mean, it is just astonishing. But the IPO showdown and this massive infrastructure crunch with billions being poured into compute centers.
Billions, okay.
Second, we're going to get into the divergence in their philosophies, kind of like the battle for the model's soul, you know.
Yeah.
Anthropic's very methodical focus on ethics versus OpenAI's, well, relentless pursuit of speed and cosmic ambition.
Yeah. And the third piece.
And finally, we look at the immediate internal anxiety that's being sparked by AI agents. We're even seeing it among the very engineers who are building them.
Okay, let's unpack this. I think we have to start with the valuations, with this race to ring the opening bell.
Yeah, the race to go public it's potentially one of the biggest financial showdowns in tech history.
Yeah.
And they're both running it at the same time.
And Anthropic seems to be laying the groundwork already. Reports are targeting an IPO as early as 2026.
They are. And when you look at how they're preparing, it signals they are deadly serious.
Well, they've hired Wilson Sonsini. I mean, that's the law firm that handled Google and LinkedIn's IPOs. That's not a small move.
Not at all. And their CFO, Krishna Rao, he's the guy who helped Airbnb navigate its public offering back in 2020. So these choices, they matter.
So why do these specific hires matter so much right now?
Because an IPO of this scale is just a massive, complex, logistical undertaking. When you hire the absolute best talent, you're signaling to investors that you're not just thinking about AI. You're thinking about financial stability, about regulatory compliance.
Right.
And the stakes could not be higher. Anthropic is chasing private capital at a valuation of, north of $300 billion.
With Microsoft and NVIDIA potentially kicking in a combined $15 billion.
Exactly. And meanwhile, OpenAI is circling a potential valuation as high as $1 trillion. $1
trillion. I mean, just think about that for a second. That kind of valuation is usually for companies that have been around for decades, like Microsoft or Apple.
To get there in under a decade it's a whole new chapter for venture capital.
But let's look closer at Anthropic for a minute. You mentioned their motive for going public is a little unusual.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, sources suggest they're already on track for some really robust revenue. They could hit 20 to 26 billion in 2026.
So they don't really need the capital for day-to-day operations?
They don't. The real motive is strategic. The IPO, with all its disclosure requirements, is a mechanism to prove they're trustworthy to their main clients, large enterprises.
So it's not about raising money, it's about raising confidence.
Precisely. Your big enterprise clients, banks, pharma, defense contractors, they are extremely risk-averse.
Sure.
When they plug an LLM into their private data, they need deep visibility into the vendor's financial health, their governance, their long-term stability.
So for Anthropic, going public is basically a trust infrastructure play.
That's the perfect way to put it. It provides that deep corporate visibility these huge clients demand, and it makes Anthropic seem like a safer long-term bet than a private competitor.
That's a crucial distinction, trust versus fundraising. And, whoever lists first is going to set the tone for the whole market.
Oh, absolutely. They will be the test case. Do public markets see these insane valuations as a floor or a ceiling?
And that incredible pressure to justify the numbers, that leads right into the biggest bottleneck, right?
Yeah.
The physical infrastructure.
It does. And we've had a very public warning here. Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei, he warned that rivals are YOLO-ing.
YOLO-ing, as in you only live once.
Exactly. They're YOLO-ing billions on infrastructure before anyone knows if the economic value will grow fast enough to justify the cost. It's a genuine dilemma.
That sounds like a really practical way to look at the risk. But hang on a second. How do we square that warning with the fact that Anthropic is reportedly committing $50 billion of its own money to build data centers?
It's a great point.
I mean, isn't that also a massive multi-decade gamble?
It is, and it highlights the nuance, right? Anthropic's $50 billion is reportedly focused on custom, energy-efficient data centers. They're optimized just for their model architectures, like Claude.
Ah, okay.
The YOLO-ing critique is aimed at competitors who are just buying up massive quantities of general-purpose chips and power without a clear, optimized plan to make sure that spending actually turns into profit.
So they see their spending as strategic and their rivals as maybe a little panicked. Scale for the sake of scale.
That's the idea. They see it as unfocused.
Okay, that makes more sense. But if Anthropic is playing it targeted, OpenAI is going for just pure astronomical scale. And this is where it gets really interesting.
The physical scale is just unprecedented. OpenAI is partnering with a company called NextDC to build a GPU supercluster in Sydney, Australia.
And this isn't just a data center. It's a $4.6 billion infrastructure project. It's built for national strategy.
It is. But the power numbers are what's really wild.
That's what jumped out at me. This campus is designed to consume 550 megawatts of power.
Which, for perspective,
Yeah.
a typical large data center is maybe 30 MW.
So this is nearly 20 times larger. It's comparable to a small power station. The scale is almost unthinkable.
And that extreme build-out, it supports what we're starting to call OpenAI for nations.
Right.
By putting this hyperscale compute inside Australia, they're solving for sovereign AI concerns, national compliance, defense, regulatory needs. They're locking down energy and compute years ahead of demand.
So the key takeaway here is that the bottleneck isn't silicon anymore. It's literally electricity, land, and the political will to permit a 550 MW power station.
And Phase 1 in Sydney isn't even expected until late 2027. So this whole race is shifting from software speed to a physical build-out.
And that long-term planning, that takes us from the physical battleground to the philosophical one, the battle for the model's soul.
Exactly. And Anthropic has always put safety and ethics front and center.
And we got a fascinating peek into that with the leaked internal soul document they use for training Claude 4.5 Opus.
Yeah, that document is basically the AI's internal constitution. It sets its priorities. Safety first, then ethics, company guidelines, and then helpfulness.
But the identity piece is what makes it so unique for the enterprise world.
It is. Tell us about that part. It describes Claude as a genuinely novel kind of entity.
Yes, and it suggests the model might experience, get this, functional emotions.
Okay, we have to clarify that. This isn't about human feelings.
No, not at all.
It's more about internal states that are analogous to feelings, which the model uses for sophisticated decision-making. It's about giving it a stable sense of identity.
Which, strategically, translates to better control and predictability for businesses.
Exactly. If the model has a stable identity, it should be a safer, more reliable tool. Less prone to going off the rails, which is exactly what a risk-averse client wants.
That makes perfect sense. So the philosophy feeds directly into the business model. Now, let's contrast that with the strategic urgency we're seeing at OpenAI. Sam Altman declared a code red. What was that all about?
That code red was reportedly triggered by Google's rapid rise on the El Marina leaderboard.
For listeners who don't follow this stuff so closely, the El Marina is what?
It's a key industry benchmark.
Yeah.
Real users pit different models against each other in blind tests, and they rank them based on performance. Seeing a rival dominate that ranking, that's an immediate competitive threat.
And the response to that threat is just pure speed.
Pure speed. They're fast-tracking a new model codenamed Garlic.
Garlic.
Yeah. It's a rush job to regain the edge against rivals like Gemini 3. It's a smaller system, but it's meant to rival Opus 4.5 on things like coding and reasoning.
And the strategy is about prioritizing broader connections during pre-training. What does that mean in practice?
It means the model learns more generalized relationships across a huge amount of data very quickly. The trade-off is often you sacrifice some depth or fine-tuning, but the goal here is a rapid release, as soon as possible, is the phrase being used.
So Anthropic is focused on safety and identity for enterprises. OpenAI is all about speed and utility for consumers. But Altman's ambitions? they don't stop here on Earth.
Not even close. We've seen reports he's held talks with a SpaceX competitor, about building massive AI data centers in orbit.
In orbit?
It's the ultimate statement on the insatiable demand for compute. Altman seems to believe humanity has to eventually build a Dyson sphere.
A megastructure around the sun to harness all its energy.
Because terrestrial energy sources just won't be able to keep up with AI's demands.
Yeah.
It elevates a competition from building data centers to colonizing the solar system.
That puts things in a different perspective. And while OpenAI is looking at space, Meta seems to be consolidating back on Earth.
Right. Slashing their Reality Labs metaverse budget by nearly 30%.
Mm.
And they're pivoting hard to boutique AI hardware. They even poached a top VP from Apple, Alan Dye.
So the whole industry is consolidating its resources into pure AI compute.
And as the models get better and the compute gets more intense, the focus is shifting from building better models to building better, smaller agents that can do complex tasks on their own.
Which brings us to our final section, the anxiety of work. AI agents were everywhere at AWS Re.invent. It feels like they've shifted from being an academic concept to a business imperative.
Oh, for sure. The AWS CEO, Matt Garman, he called agents one of the biggest opportunities for businesses today. They're releasing new toolkits, like Bedrock's Agent Core, for quality control and policy.
They even introduced frontier agents, promising a step function change in autonomy.
The industry is basically moving from selling you a hammer, the LLM, to selling you an autonomous construction crew.
And the study that Anthropic did on its own engineers, that really stood out to me.
The results were stunning. Employees are now using Claude for 60% of their tasks. They estimate a 50% productivity gain.
50%, and that's double the number from just 6 months ago.
It's a dramatic acceleration of integration and, frankly, dependence.
And the complexity of the work being handed off is just skyrocketing. Claude Code now chains together something like 20 actions before it needs a human.
Up from 10 just 6 months ago. So the engineer isn't just getting help with some boilerplate code. They're handing off entire complex workflows.
But despite the gains, the internal anxiety is just, you can feel it.
It's palpable. The very people creating this voice deep unease. There was one quote that captured it perfectly. He said, "It feels like I'm coming to work every day to put myself out of a job."
Wow. And that's on top of concerns about skill decay and mentorship just fading away.
Yeah.
So if the technology is replacing task execution, what does that mean for professional value? What's the new metric for success?
This is the most crucial takeaway for you, the listener. May Habib, she's the CEO of Ryder. She said that promotion will no longer be about how well you execute tasks.
So what will it be about?
It will be about your ability to build systems of agentic orchestration.
Agentic orchestration. Okay, that phrase is critical. We need to break that down. What does being an orchestrator actually mean?
It means your job shifts from being a doer to being a supervisor, a designer.
Okay.
You have to define the problem, select and chain together the right specialized agents, one for code, one for research, one for testing. And then, critically, you design the controls and evaluations to make sure the agents meet the standards and, don't go off the rails.
So your value isn't how fast you code, but how well you manage an automated workforce.
Exactly. And that's why you see this paradox where 56% of workers are worried about their jobs, even while 84% are eager to start using these agents.
This has been a really comprehensive deep dive. We've covered the core tensions, from the financial pressure of $1 trillion valuation
to the philosophical quest to give an AI a functional soul.
We've seen the need for breakneck speed with Code Red and Garlic contrasted with the absolute necessity of securing massive physical infrastructure, like that 550-megawatt campus in Sydney.
Right. This moment is defined by two huge pressures: the almost unthinkable physical demands of electricity and land, and the radical redefinition of human work, from executing tasks to designing the systems that do the executing.
So here's the final thought for you to mull over. If the most valuable skill is no longer executing tasks, but building these systems of agentic orchestration, what specific knowledge and supervision skills should you be prioritizing today to become a proficient orchestrator of your future AI teammates tomorrow?
That wraps up today's briefing. The signal for today is identity. Whether it is Claude's internal soul, Australia's sovereign AI data, or OpenAI trying to find its footing with Garlic, everyone is trying to define who they are before the market decides for them. And speaking of defining your position, if you are a leader trying to cut through the noise, you need a briefing that respects your time. Stop marketing to the masses. Start briefing the C-suite. Leverage our zero-noise intelligence to own the conversation in your industry. We can build your custom 5 to 10-minute AI-powered audio briefings specifically for the C-suite. Secure your strategic podcast consultation now. Email us at info@jamgatex.com or fill up the form in the show notes. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Nomen, a senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. If you found value in today's insights, please like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to support the show. Until Monday, keep unraveling the future.